In the past 5 years, survival games have flooded the market. They tend to be violent, aggressive affairs and usually have you battling some form of undead or derailing other players' ability to survive. The Long Dark isn't this. The Long Dark is true survival. It's you versus nature, with all its abundance, all its unpleasantness, all its unrelenting horrors. Starting the game, there are essentially 2 modes. The story mode, called Wintermute, and the sandbox survival modes. Without going into too much detail or divulging any spoilers, the former is not where the strength of the game lies. Although handy in helping understand how the game works, it inevitably becomes a tedious trudge and has the potential to ruin initial perceptions of what's great about the game. Give the story mode a try, as it may be to your liking. If not, jump straight into the survival modes and let it be you against nature. There are 4 difficulties to choose from: Pilgrim, Voyager, Stalker and Interloper. Pilgrim mode is less intense and offers the ability to explore without relative threat. In contrast, Interloper is brutally unforgiving, with a hazardous climate and depleting wildlife to harvest food and resources from. It's best to start as a Voyager, as it offers the balance required to master exploration and survival. Depending on your survival prowess, you can always dial back to Pilgrim or bump up the difficulty to Interloper in a new game after you die. And you will die at some point. You begin the game with limited resources, but enough health and well-being to allow you to find shelter, water and food, the key ingredients to survival. Initially, it can be hard to adjust, particularly for those who have no familiarity with the maps. If you're unfortunate to be caught in a raging blizzard, confidence will drop as those biting winds, the limited visibility and sub-zero temperatures will have you praying that you stumble upon an abandoned house, car, cave, anything. There are a variety of maps, each of which are connected via some geological or man-made feature, such as a frozen river or an elusive mine shaft. Each map has a different feel, although all are stricken by the same treacherous Arctic conditions. Setting up strategic survival points is vital. Without a safe house, don't expect to last longer than a few days. You need a place to store food, water and resources to keep you fed, hydrated and warm. In shelter, you are gifted time to think, replenish, craft and plan. Eating a can of nourishing peaches in front of a pot-bellied stove will never feel so good after a bloody battering from the elements outside. Hoarding supplies in a single area is important, but nothing lasts forever. You will run out of life's essentials and have to inevitably up sticks. Preparing for an expedition, whether temporary or permanent, requires meticulous planning and is core to longevity in the game. Considering your loadout carefully can mean the difference between life and death. It's a fine balancing act. Decide to take everything, including the kitchen sink, and you may quickly become encumbered, hindering your ability to explore and ultimately survive. Decide to travel light, and you may find thirst and hunger creeping in far quicker than you ever imagined. When you die in the Long Dark, your previous progress is lost and you have to start over. Although this can be frustrating after previously setting up a foothold in this unforgiving world, this decision is vital and contributes to the game's strength. Dying, in the true sense of the word, makes you pay more care and attention. There is feeling that every step, every challenge, every animal counts. Each minute has to be lived to the best of your ability. After all, your life depends on it. The wildlife in the Long Dark are both a blessing and a curse. When you're the hunter, deer and rabbits are life-giving, providing food, clothing materials and crafting resources. When you become the hunted, the wolves and bears will be your living nightmare and often will be the cause of your ultimate demise. It's wise to be vigilant at all times and never take a stalking wolf lightly. Carrying a gun or other weaponry is highly recommended and will give you at least some peace of mind. Improvements have been made to the graphics throughout the Long Dark's development cycle. Some suggest they are dated, and perhaps they are compared to today's standards. However, they certainly have their own unique style and coherently pull the game's atmosphere together. And to be fair, there are real moments of beauty, especially during the winter sunsets and the stark, starry nights. The sound design is nothing short of, well, superb. It perfectly portrays the essence of a vast winter wilderness. The Long Dark is as realistic as you are going to get in a survival game, with a wrong decision having a dramatic consequence further down the line. You will begin questioning if you should have ever left the comfort of the farmhouse that started to feel like home. What the Long Dark really does well is its ability to make you think, feel and adapt like a survivor. You need to learn from the past, build skills to sustain oneself in the present and plan for the future. Hunting and gathering is what it's all about, just like our ancestors did. Throughout the day and night you are burning calories, becoming thirsty and getting fatigued. It's a never-ending cycle that has to be maintained and managed. The weak story mode and perhaps the rather repetitive nature of surviving will not appeal to everyone. If you don't like the genre, the Long Dark is probably best avoided. There is no denying though that this is a brilliant survival game, in the true sense of the word. If you have a love for the outdoors, wild camping and nature, you will feel right at home. Instinct will kick in and the hunter-gatherer will ignite within you. Survival has never been so important, and bizarrely, you will feel more equipped to survive in the real world having been fortunate enough to play the Long Dark.